Well, I'll tell you, Jason, for me,
Either he wants to say something or eat something, one of the two.
Take the opportunity to put our musical interests.
Acting, dancing, and now singing a Grammy winner.
Those movies, and particularly Night Shift and Gung Ho.
Really? Never knew that.
Okay, here we are at the Kenosha County Democratic Party event. I'm with Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Thank you so much for coming to Kenosha. What did you think of the event today?
It's a wonderful event. We were here to celebrate my former colleague, Peter Barker, who's now my colleague once again. So it's always a beautiful time. I was here last year. I may have been here the year before, actually, too. So for the last several years, I've had the chance to come celebrate. And these are some of the most dedicated party members that we have in the state.
Well, once again, congratulations on your win. How's it going so far in Madison?
It has been great so far. I'm super excited about the budget that we rolled out. I'm excited to get across the state to promote the budget for people and to answer questions that they have all across Wisconsin. This is truly a people's budget, and we want people to know what's in it.
What are some important issues that we look forward for the state of Wisconsin?
Some of the most important issues, again, that are outlined in the budget are healthcare expansion, road funding, also making sure that we are protecting our natural resources.
Okay, here we are at the Kenosha County Democratic Party event, and I'm with your name?
Mike Kluka.
And Mike, what did you think of the event today?
I thought it was outstanding. All the talkers had really great messages, the content, principles. It's everything that I volunteer my time for to help support getting the word out and educating the people out there by door knocking and phone banking, bringing the message to hey, this is the issues and this is what counts. And, doing everything I can to get the boat steered the right direction.
Well, let's hear about those issues. What's going on?
Gerrymandering, that's just absolutely insane. Some of the numbers I've heard is in 2010, I think Republicans got 250,000 more votes than Democrats, and they picked up 60 seats in the House. In 2012, I think the numbers were 420,000 people voted the other way, and they didn't pick up any seats. So how, that's not a democracy. That's one of the big issues that irks me. So.
And what should we do to make sure we don't get in that position again?
Well, go out and vote. Vote, baby.
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Patty Prosco.
And Patty, what role did you play here?
I'm a volunteer.
And why do you volunteer for the Democratic Party?
I volunteer for who is ever running that I feel is right candidate. Like right now, I'm for Tip McGuire, and I am for Lisa Nunberger.
What issues are important for you?
Well, what's really important to me is that Tip McGuire wins this race for Assembly for Peter Barker's job is because Peter and Tip worked together. Peter worked with Tip, taught them the ropes with Tip. Tip is an attorney. He knows the ropes of what to do in Madison.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming to this event. It's a great event.
It was a wonderful event. Thank you all for inviting me, and I love the Italian American.
And Kenosha, and I'm with your name?
Alicia Lorta.
Alicia, what do you think of the event today so far?
Yeah, it was great. It was great to come out and talk to fellow Democrats. Also because Kenosha is my hometown, it was nice to see familiar faces and new faces, and just to see how the event went was great.
And what brought you out today?
Well, I am actually running to be the next second vice chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin. So I came out to talk to voters and delegates and just to see how we can get energized and get people out voting for the next election.
A lot of issues were talked today. What's some issues that you feel that are important?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm bringing the youth perspective to the party and on this ballot. So I think talking about issues that pertain to young people is definitely one. So we talked a lot about climate change and the impacts that are having, especially on young people. We're the ones that are going to have to feel the consequences in 50 years, other than being affordable college and making sure that we're lowering student loan debts. But yeah, so some of these topics that we were talking about were really, really important, and I'm glad we discussed it.
With the national convention coming up next year, are you excited about that?
Yeah, super excited. It's in Milwaukee, so we're going to get some representation here in Wisconsin. And I think it's going to be a really, really good opportunity to get more people in Wisconsin voting and excited for the election.
And I'm with your name.
John Franco.
And I'm Jennifer Franco.
What a great speech you guys gave, and again, congratulations on the honoree that they had tonight. What did you think of the event today?
Oh, it's fantastic. We come every year. We're big supporters, and we always have a great time, and food was great. We always get a great speaker. Having Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes here was fantastic, and so we always enjoy it. Yeah.
Right. It's a big fundraiser as well, so that's always great.
Well, there are a lot of issues that were brought up, especially in your speech. What issues are important to you this election year?
Wow, there's quite a few. The whole issue of gerrymandering came up, and fair maps, I think, is pivotal. I think the infrastructure issues, tax fairness, the water issue. I mean, you name it. There's so many important issues.
Affordable health care and
minimum
reproductive
wage.
rights, LGBTQ rights, voting rights. There's a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to categorize them all.
Well, how are we going to do to get to that stage where we can have better affordable?
I think to get some of those progressive policies passed. Obviously, we think that Democrats have to be in office and have to be in the majority because Republicans are not going to go for any of those issues. And the part of the problem is I don't think they're being attuned to the people, and people, I think, support a lot of these issues. But if you're in a gerrymandered district, you don't have to listen to the people. The only thing you worry about is your potential, primary. And so if you're in such a safe seat, you don't have to care about those things. And so I think that's the base problem that has to be overcome.
And also getting people out to vote. I think that's huge. That makes a difference, making sure people are registered and that they are aware of elections and actually getting out there to vote.
Right, and I'm with your name.
Tip McGuire.
And Tip, what did you think of the event today?
I thought tonight was great. I thought we got to hear from important Democratic leaders as well as honor Representative Peter Barca for his contributions to the community.
Well, you work with them. How was it working with them?
It was absolutely incredible. Peter was a great mentor. He was a terrific leader for Kenosha. He took very seriously representing his constituents and took very seriously individual constituent concerns and complaints and issues that they were having with state government. That was something that he took very personally.
What's the reason you're running in his seat to take? Because you'd be filling his shoes, so to speak.
Yes. Well, I'm running because, this is my home, this is my community, and I believe that we deserve strong representation that's going to stand up for the middle class. And I know that we do have a legacy through Peter and Jim Cruiser and Bob Wirch and Joe Andrea of people who do take individuals very seriously and insist on making sure that government is very responsive to people, and I want to continue that legacy.
There are a lot of issues that were brought up tonight. What issues are important to you in the state, in your district?
Well, I think it's absolutely imperative that we reinvest in our public schools after 8 years of Scott Walker's attacks on families, schools, and workers. I think we need to roll that back and start to make sure that workers have a voice in their workplace, that we're funding our public schools, that people have access to affordable health care, and that people have access to retirement security. I think that's incredibly important as well.
Well, Tip, once again, thank you so much for coming out today. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming to the event today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Welcome back, and in the studio we have a great guest here this evening. Let's give a round of applause to State Senator of the Wisconsin 22nd District, Mr. Bob Wirch.
Good to be here.
All right, thank you so much, Bob, for coming on down. We kind of always start off, maybe for those who don't know what a state senator does. What is the role of a state senator?
Well, I go to Madison, and right now we're trying to get a state budget. And the budget finances a good part of local government, that's city, town, village, county, the school systems. So it's important to get that budget done sometime this year. Then, of course, I work on legislation. working to pass legislation, laws for the state. And we try and do constituent work, very important, helping people with their problems. And so we do a lot of problem solving out there to help our constituents. And by the way, I have 170,000 constituents, and that's mainly the city of Kenosha and the city of Racine.
Okay, so let's talk, since we're on the topic of budget, let's talk about, I believe Governor Evener rolled out his budget. Now, what did you think of it, and how is it going to play out?
Well, I think it's a good budget. He's trying to fix the roads that Scott Walker ruined during his 8 years. You know, we were number 2 in the country in our roads, and now we're right near the bottom after 8 years of Scott Walker. So he's putting money in to fix the roads, putting money in for schools. We have underfunded special education in the state. The state is supposed to finance it at about 67% for special ed, and it's down to like about 24% now. So he has money to fix that, and money for the UW and money for other schools. Medicaid expansion, he has that in there. We can talk about that later. Sure. But the sad part about it is the Republican leaders, and the Republicans control the Assembly and the Senate, have both said the governor's budget is dead on arrival and they're going to do their own budget. So people want us to get along and work together, but the Republicans are being obstructionists so far with the budget.
Bills, any upcoming bills that you want to talk about?
Yes, I have a couple of bills that I've introduced. One for workers. You know, I come out of the factory. I worked in the sheet copper department at American Brass years ago. So mine is for workers who get shortchanged on their pay. They asked to work off the clock, different types of ways that they don't get the adequate pay. So my wage theft bill would help in that direction, just having them sign a little contract with the employer just to clarify what the rules are. You know, you're going to make X number of dollars an hour and you're going to work first shift. They're real simple things so that there's some basis to work off of. And a number of states, about 20 states have passed it, but so far we're having trouble. In Wisconsin, the Republicans are not real friendly when it comes to workers, but we hope to work with them on this issue. The other one, the fastest growing crime in this area, unfortunately, is ripping off seniors. The calls that they get constantly in the afternoon, they keep trying to find a vulnerable senior. They can take their life savings. And so my bill would up the penalties on people who try and rip off senior citizens and make it so that lawyers would be more willing to help them get their money back if that's possible.
Let's roll right into then that Medicare expansion.
Medicaid expansion. And we have to remember the history on it, that before 1965, there was no Medicaid. There was the poorhouse. And every county had the poorhouse. You went in if you had a problem. And then through the Great Society, Lyndon Johnson, they put in Medicaid. Now, Medicaid helps a lot of different people. Half of Medicaid spending goes for people who can't afford nursing homes. And, you know, nursing homes can be up to $100,000 a year. So most people can't afford that. So half of Medicaid goes to people in nursing homes, and the other half helps out poor people with insurance. And that's why we want Medicaid expansion in the state. The Democrats want Medicaid expansion. Governor Tony Evers wants Medicaid expansion. And this would simply be cover for health care coverage for people from 100 to 138% of the poverty level. And 38 states have taken this federal money. 38 states and the District of Columbia have taken the money. And in fact, all of our surrounding states have taken it. Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, All of them have taken the money, but not Wisconsin. Why? Because Scott Walker didn't want it. He was trying to please his right-wing buddies when he was in and trying to become president, and so he didn't want the money. And now, unfortunately, he's gone, and Robin Voss and Fitzgerald, Republican leaders, have also said no to money for Medicaid, for health insurance for poor people. And this is shameful because it can mean the difference between life and death. If you have health care coverage, you get in there early if you have cancer and they can treat it instead of waiting till it's too late. And so I would ask all of your listeners to call the Republican legislators and tell them, hey, the other states have taken Medicaid money. What's the matter with Wisconsin? Stop, join Tony Evers, take that money. Even very conservative states like Indiana, Louisiana, Utah, conservative Republican states have taken this money, but not Wisconsin, and it's shameful. And you know, if we take that money, it would also help free up, we could help with the opioid problem that's out there, and then of course lead poisoning and lead abatement, which is a huge problem. So the crazy thing about it is that Wisconsin is a donor state, meaning that for every dollar we send to Washington, we only get 80 cents back. So we need to take this Medicaid money. I believe it's about $324 million for 2 years. Would help us for health care for our needy citizens.
Like with gerrymandering, that's I've been hearing as well. Maybe you can talk about that.
We have one of the most gerrymandered maps in the country here in Wisconsin. First of all, we took it to federal court, and 3 federal judges ruled that we have a bad gerrymandered map here in Wisconsin, and they voted it was unconstitutional. Well, it was then appealed to the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court threw it out on a technicality. So they're now fighting the case again in Wisconsin, and there was just a ruling by, once again, a 3-judge panel in Michigan, our neighboring state, that their map, their gerrymandered map, was unconstitutional. So that's going to the Supreme Court. So we'll see. Justice Kennedy had signaled that he wanted to fix this situation, but he retired. And so I'm not sure if the votes are there, but they're hearing oral arguments on gerrymandering. There should be a decision, I think, maybe sometime, who knows, when they want to bring it out, maybe June. But, and that's a long shot because of the composition of the Supreme Court, but we have to redo the maps in a couple of years, and I don't see any way there will be an agreement between the Democrat Tony Evers and the Republicans in this legislature. So if there's not an agreement, it goes to federal court, and we will have a federal judge redo the maps. That's happened before.
We just have a few minutes left. Is there any other area that you want to bring up that we haven't, or in Racine or Kenosha?
Well, constituent work is very important in my office. I can't stress that enough. If any of your listeners have a problem, you call my office, 262-694-7379. I'll repeat that in case you're getting a pen or pencil. 262-694-7379. We believe in helping people with their problems. Issues come and go in politics, but if we can help you with a problem, that's great. We help people break through the bureaucracy, sometimes with state agencies if you can't get an answer. We've helped with insurance companies. We've helped veterans. We've helped people even with the federal government. We have an inside a person that works with Senator Baldwin's office on that, Tammy Baldwin. So we believe that we are public servants, and we try and help people, and that's the bottom line. In fact, when the weather is nice, over 40 degrees, there's a rule in my office. Pick a day you're coming back and walk the neighborhoods and meet the people that you represent. That is so important that People know how to contact our office, and we listen to the people out there. In fact, I'm proud to say that I have more listening sessions than any elected official in this area. We try for 2 a month to get people in there, far right people, far left people, people that are just curious about issues, try and get them in one room and we talk issues. We believe in free speech, and we believe people should be civil to each other. Those are the 2 rules we have for our listening sessions.
Bob, thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate it. And let's give a big round of applause.
Thanks for having me on.
For our state senator, Bob Wirch,
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dean Romano of Outdoor Wild. You know, one of the things I like about the outdoors are these beautiful parks, like this one here in Kenosha. It's got nice walking trails along Lake Michigan. There's a lot of room here for people to come out and enjoy themselves. But one of the other things I like about our parks are these trash cans. So if you see any garbage like this, please pick it up and throw it away. Try to remember, let's all pitch in to keep our community clean. I'm Dean Romano of Outdoor Wild, and thanks for keeping our community clean.
Okay, here we are again at the Kenosha History Center, and I'm with your name?
Chris Allen.
And Chris, what's your role here at the Kenosha History Center?
I'm the executive director.
For those who haven't been to the Kenosha History Center, what is it?
The Kenosha History Center is a museum here on Simmons Island in downtown Kenosha that covers all Kenosha County history starting in 1835 and going up to present day.
And there's different sections here in the History Center?
Yeah, we have 3 different galleries here at the History Center. We have our Yesteryear Gallery that's going to deal with 1835 up until about the turn of the century, 1900. We have the Lyman Gallery, and that features a rotating display. We have various rotating displays here in the Lyman Gallery. And we also have the Rambler Legacy Gallery, and that will feature an automotive display each year as well as industrial history.
Well, I know I'm hearing some really neat things about the Rambler Legacy Gallery, so let's head on over there. Okay, Chris, very interesting gallery here today, and again, very local history as well. Let's hear about this gallery again.
Yeah, so the Rambler Legacy Gallery each year features an auto display. We rotate that from when they come in. We have our grand opening each year on Black Friday, and these cars stay here until the end of September. For 2019, we actually have a really special display. This is called All-American Kenosha Style. So it features 6 automobiles, all with a red, white, and blue paint scheme, all made by American Motors, and we've had a lot of fun putting this one together. So we have 5 muscle cars on the main floor, and then we've stuck the Pacer here in the corner.
Right. Any interesting facts or history about the Pacer?
Yeah, see, this Pacer is actually a really interesting one. This Pacer was made in 1976. There was only 12 made like this. This is a bicentennial Pacer that State Farm had approached American Motors to make. They actually only made 12 of this particular vehicle, and they were made for the dealers for State Farm in this area. This one is one of the only few that still exists to this day, and for the visitors that come in, they may recognize this one because it's Joe Wervey's old car, and it used to sit at the State Farm office up on 30th Avenue.
Okay, Chris, what are we standing in the back of here?
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is actually the Rebel Machine. This car was built in 1970, made about 2,500 of these vehicles right here in Kenosha, and this is one of the cars that are featured in our All-American Kenosha Style exhibit.
Now, is that how they were paid in when they came, or did they pay it for the exhibit?
Yeah, actually, this is how they would have came off the line in 1970. It was very unique for the time to have this red, white, and blue styling on it. It's a styling that red, white, and blue paint scheme is something that made AMC very famous for their paint scheme on the cars here.
And for those who don't know that, the AMC was built cars.
Yeah. American Motors started building cars here. It grew out of the Nash Company. There's a merger in 1954 between Nash Kelvinator and Hudson Motor Cars, and that merger created American Motors Corporation in 1954. American Motors was here up through 1987 when Chrysler acquired the company.
I think that's why this exhibit is really kicking off, is because of people who either worked there or remember these cars, or just basically car enthusiasts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really try to tell Kenosha's history, and you can't tell Kenosha's history without talking about American Motors or Nash or Jeffrey, the three big automakers that were here, and that grew out of each other. So, yeah, we're trying to honor that history. A lot of our visitors are former employees of the company or relatives of employees, and if they're not relatives or work there, they certainly do remember the impact that AMC made on Kenosha.
Yeah, for the out-of-town people, it's interesting to know what was made here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of people, when they think American auto production, they think of Detroit right away. And you had the big three in Detroit, but a lot of people don't remember is the fourth. And the fourth is really American Motors. They were the fourth largest automaker in the country. You know, in 1970, American Motors acquires Jeep, and that's really the reason why Chrysler came and purchased the company in 1987. And although Chrysler ended final assembly here in Kenosha, they continued making the Jeep engines up through the early 2000s. So that history is rather recent to us.
Chris, I'm just amazed at the different cars here, and they're called, you said, muscle cars, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so a muscle car, basically it's a car that it has a big engine. It was meant to go fast. Most of the cars that are here, these are cars that are going to go fast in a straight line. So a lot of these were used with drag racing, but muscle, we're talking that big engine and ready for performance. So,
do you give tours at all?
We do. We give group tours. A lot of times we give school tours as well. So if you're interested in having a tour, contact us here at the History Center. You can go on our website, KenoshaHistoryCenter.org, or give us a phone call, and our phone number is listed online as well.
Thanks so much for showing us around the gallery and the History Center. It's just absolutely terrific. And then the last stop here is the gift shop, if you could talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our gift shop here at the History Center is open during all museum hours. What we try to do is feature a lot of local products and things that you might not be able to find at a big box store or online otherwise. We have a great selection of books that pertain to Kenosha history and Wisconsin history in general, as well as different memorabilia with American Motors and Nash and that sort of thing as well. One of the new products that we've brought in is some local postcards also. So if people are looking for historic shots of town or shots of the lighthouse, that sort of thing, we do have a nice postcard selection here.
If we could just update again the events calendar that upcoming events here at the History Center.
Yeah, so upcoming this year, 2019, the big one for us is going to be the June 1st block party. It's the Simmons Summer Kickoff that's happening right here on Simmons Island, right outside the Kenosha History Center. So that's going to be June 1st from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. It's a free event for classic car owners. It's also free for spectators. Come on down, enjoy the classic cars, grab a great bite to eat from some local vendors here, and just enjoy the day. Looking out a little bit further, we'd also host our annual chili cook-off, and that's going to be coming up the third Saturday in October. That's an annual fundraiser for us. We bring 10 local restaurants in, and they compete for the title of Best Chili in Kenosha. And then looking into next year for 2020, we have the very large Kenosha Homecoming Car Show coming back to Kenosha at Kennedy Park. That's going to be on July 25th, 2020, with events starting that Tuesday. We're really looking forward to that one. We're going to probably have close to 1,000 cars out there again, and we have something special planned for inside the History Center with our car exhibit next year as well. So stay tuned for some details coming out on that.
Great. Well, this is an absolutely terrific History Center here. At website?
Our website is www.kenoshahistorycenter.org. You can find us on Facebook, Kenosha History Center. Our Southport Lighthouse also has a Facebook page on the internet as well.
And the address here for people to stop by?
The address, we're located on Simmons Island in downtown Kenosha. The numerical address is 220 51st Place. And like I said, on Simmons Island, we're in the old water treatment plant right across from the Kenosha Yacht Club.
Well, Chris, once again, this is absolutely an excellent resource in the community. We thank you so much, and we'll definitely stop out for the events. And so, Chris, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.